Ultrakill. This game needs absolutely zero introductions. And with layer 8 just around the corner and approaching very quickly, I felt it an appropriate time to do my personal ranking of every level in the game, including the Encores, Prime Sanctums, and secret levels. We have a total of 39 levels to go through, so buckle your and get your Gabriel and V1 body pillows at the ready. Also, I would like to make a proposal to you. If this video gets at least 50 likes, I will attempt to P-rank P2 on Violent when I reach 1,000 hours played in Ultrakill. I currently am at 700 hours, and if this video gets at least 50 likes, I will attempt to P-rank P2. And don't even ask me to do it on Brutal, because that's not happening. But let us get started with, of course, 0-1, the Prelude. We love the Prelude levels. I've always loved Ultrakill's opening and introduction, especially because the first time you boot up the game, it lets you configure the audio how you want it to instead of just blasting your eardrums out. More games need to do that. But the level itself is very fun. You pick up the Piercer Revolver and you just kind of go nuts. And of course you get to fight Maurice at the end. That's always a bunch of fun. So as such, I will be giving 0-1 an A tier, just because I feel like it's extremely iconic at this point. 0-2, where you have your very first optional secret encounter. But for me, it's become less optional and more so required. Getting the shotgun early is just way too satisfying. Also, the physical environment of the levels with all the like blood and guts dripping out from the drains on the side and the drains that you can like go in and stuff. I've always loved that. And of course, you get the meat crushers. You can't go wrong with them. Also, this level is like, maybe not the best example, but a pretty decent example of like the sort of like, I don't want to say open worldy, but open explorationness that a lot of Ultrakill's levels have. There's quite a few different paths you can take, and this is where you can also access the secret level. I think it's a good level. I don't think I quite like it as much as 0-1, but it's a good level, so I'll give it a B tier. 0-3, where you have the option to only fight one enemy in the entire level if you know how to do it. This level got such a glow up in the Ultra revamp, the change from the like square orange lights to like the heat beams like going up and down, and then there's that one section where you got two husks behind an actual heat beam trap. Such a glow up. This is where you traditionally get the shotgun, and it's where most players will upon first playthrough. Also has a pretty nice mix of like close quarters combat like arenas and like some pretty like medium to long distance arenas. But in general, you still feel like you're in a relatively claustrophobic space. And I like it. It's a good level. I think I like it a little bit more than 0-2, but I don't think it's quite, more than 0-2. There we go. I think I definitely like it a little bit more, but I don't think it quite gets an A tier. Then we have 0-4, which introduces you to the heat mechanic. Of course, most players upon first playthrough will be extremely confused by it, like, hey, like, why do I need to get heated down? I get that I'm a living computer and all that, but like, why is that important? And then if you play long enough and you make it all the way to the Encore levels, you're like, oh my god, this makes so much sense now. It's a little bit of foreshadowing. Also, there's that red orb with the two Maurices. I will say I died an embarrassingly number of times the first time I did that room, but it's a fun level, you know. It's a pretty fun level. I think I'll put it in the middle of B tier for now. I'm probably gonna rework or reorganize a couple of levels. Like most things I put on a tier list are subject to change by the end. But for now, I'll just put it in the middle of B tier. And of course, 0-5, where you actually enter hell after fighting Cerberus. Sorry, Cerberi. You got a nice little obstacle course to go through before you can fight the boss, or just, you know, slam storage long jump across the lava. And after seeing the statues of the Cerberus just like throughout the first 4 levels of the Prelude, and then you get to the gates of hell and you're like, huh, I wonder what I'm supposed to fight here. And then they just slowly start standing up. It's such a great moment. And I think this one definitely gets an A tier, and I think I'll actually, no, I'm not gonna put it above 0-1 because it's just such a good introduction. It's hard to beat that. And now we are moving into Limbo. Woo, Limbo, spooky. 1 minute you're like, oh yeah, it's time to go into the maw of hell and just utterly mess up some demons. And then you step outside and it's just nice and pleasant and flowery. Now the Prelude levels do feel like a little bit like claustrophobic in a good way, where it's like, oh crap, I only got so much space to move around and kill these demons. But now it's like, huh. It's all nice and stuff here, but I'm in a box of fakeness and hollowness. And I've always loved that bait and switch where it's like, I'm going into hell, and then it's all nice. It's fake niceness, of course, and that's even further exemplified by the boom boxes, the speakers playing bird sounds. It's just little details like that that really make you think, this isn't a paradise. No, this is no paradise. So I'll give 1-1 like, I'll give it low B for now. Just for now. I might move it up. Actually, I'll put it above O2. I think I like it a little more than O2. 1-2, The Burning World. Oh boy, this is a fun one. Not only do you get to fight the giant rat, but just that moment where you're just, everything's gone quiet and there's a bunch of burning bodies in front of me. And then you walk out the door and everything's on fire. That's such a good moment. And you jump by some street cleaners who come down the same elevator you came down, which I guess would imply that a lot of machines travel via these elevators. I actually kind of forget the lore on the elevators themselves. Like, someone will have to remind me. Now, 1-2 is a great level. I'm putting this one in A tier, 100%. 1-3, I think this might be our first S tier. Not only is the music amazing, but the whole map design is just incredible. First of all, red team or blue team, take your pick. Second of all, soap. And some of the secret orbs are just in such great locations. Like, literally the first one you can get is just, you step outside, you break the glass at the top, you jump up there and yoink it, there you go. And if you get both skulls for the door, you get rewarded with, you guessed it, another boss fight. Now, this level is great. I had so much fun the first time I played it. I think the first time I played it, I actually was on the map for like 20 some odd minutes, but it's just such a good level. It's such a good level. Claire de Lune. Nope, stop playing it. We'll get copyrighted. Editor, throw on some Celeste music for this one. I'm thinking Reflection. That's a good one. Claire de Lune. You can get your first alternate weapon. You can meet the homeboy Hank and fight your greater double. Sorry, V2's the better version of us. He can do everything better than us. Except dodge. I remember watching, I think it was Mythy Moo playing Ultrakill when he said like, oh man, games like this tend to not have these mirror matches until later. And yeah, I kind of was of the same mind of like, this seems a little bit early for a mirror match. And V2 absolutely kicked my butt the first time I fought him. See, the problem is at this point, upon my first playthrough, I had not learned how to use coins, and I didn't learn how to use coins for like a long time. But when I finally picked it up, I was like, holy crap, this makes everything so much easier. Because why aim at the enemies? Why shoot at the enemies when you can aim at the coin and it automatically aims for you? Also, just find it funny that you don't even need to get the skulls. You can just break the window and jump in. And of course, you can do the coin trick where you kill V2 before he even can fight you. Now, 1-4 is great. 1-4 is really good. Is this also an S tier? I really do like 1-4 like a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna give this another S tier. I think I like 1-3 a little bit better, but I think 1-4 deserves an S tier. 2-1, Bridge Burner. We've entered the layer of lust. Well, since all of us are going into the lust layer when we all go to hell, at least we got a cool cyberpunk city to hang out in. Maybe we can all catch drinks together. That could be fun. I do like Bridge Burner a lot. I will admit this won't have anything to do with the ranking, but when I was first trying to P rank all of Act 1, I struggled to P rank this one because there was like 1 or 2 enemies, like a drone or something, that I would not kill, and it'd be like, oh, I have to do it again. Also, ever since the Ultra revamp, that one platform that falls down when you walk on it and then all the enemies spawn around you, the noise it makes scared the shit out of me the first time I heard it upon replaying the entire game. It scared the shit out of me. I mean, just listen to this. You're just walking along and you hear that and you're like, oh my god, what the hell happened? Also, one thing that's pretty interesting about Lust as a whole layer in general, just a little side rant here, in Limbo, everything, it goes from like, there's like because it's got like a fake sun and a fake sky and all that, and as you go through the levels, it gets darker and darker, and then in 1-3, it's sundown, twilight, and then in 1-4, it's nighttime. Whereas in Lust, the lighting is just constant. Like, it is constant how it is. The lighting does not change, which is a pretty interesting contrast to the previous set of levels you just played. No, I like Bridge Burner. It's pretty good. I don't think it holds a candle to any of the other stuff in B tier. I like it as a level, but honestly, I think I'm gonna give it a C tier. It's just kind of like a level I like, and that's about it. 2-2, on the other hand, this is one of my personal favorite levels. You're actually on the ground of the city moving around, and you get to hear the beautiful Requiem motif. One of my favorite things about 2-2 is that you're now on the ground, and you can see Minos off in the distance, just like looking for you, trying to stare you down. But in 2-1, you just see him way far away, but now you're on the ground, and you can see how big that mofo is, and you know you're gonna fight him. Also, I definitely, also, the challenge for this level, beat it in 60 seconds, definitely one of the hardest challenges for me. More than doable. It is more than doable. But I struggled a lot with this one. No, I like 2-2 a lot. I really like this level. I just love the vibe of it. You're just in a freaking cyberpunk city. I think I'm gonna give it an A tier. And honestly, I think I'd like it a lot more than 2-2. Yeah, and yeah, I think I'm put it right there. I think that's a good spot for it. 2-3, Sheer Heart Attack. First and most importantly about Sheer Heart Attack, it has no weaknesses. Secondly, the music really gets your heart pumping in this one. Like, it really gets your heart pumping. It will give you a heart attack. The level name doesn't lie. It will give you a heart attack. The challenge is, a little ridiculous. But seeing the inner workings of the city and seeing like some of the more mechanical areas with like all the meat grinders and the crushers and the big room where you fight like an absolute metric ton of enemies with the crushers and the grinders and everything below, that was such a tense arena battle. You got everything from little shafts with bounce pads to railings and just big open pits where you can just fall and die instantly, to the secret area, like the secret orb like way up in the corner over there, if you know what I mean. It is a tense level. It's also where you fight your first mind flayer. Very exhilarating level. I think it definitely deserves either a high B or a low A. I think I'll give sheer heart attack. I'll give it low A. I think it earns low A. It's a great level. 2-4, the Court of the Corpse King. I mean, do I even need to say anything? Like, do I really need to say anything? It's an S tier, like hands down. I think I like it a lot more than V1. V2's battle. It's just one of the most iconic boss fights in the entire game. It's like same energy as with Benjamin in Layer 7, but we'll get to that. It's just like, you see that big dude over there, that dude who's like the size of 100 buildings? Yeah, go fight that. And then you start thinking to yourself, can I parry this guy? Yes, you can. It is just one of the most fun boss fights like in the entire game, full stop. Even though it's one of the most fun bosses, it's also one of the easiest. And at the very end, when you finally beat down the big son of a bitch, you realize, oh no, the elevator is in his mouth. I think I know where this is going. So after you voluntarily vore yourself to Minos, you head into Gluttony. 3-1 is always such a great time, especially this room. What I've always liked about 3-1 is that you've been in the chambers leading into hell. You've been in the false lie that is the limbo of hell, and then you go into lust of hell, which is just a cyberpunk city, and it's like, man, I wonder what they're gonna throw at me next. And then you just step outside the door, and it's exactly what you expect because of where the elevator was placed in 2-4. And the tone shift is just so drastic. A good tone shift, I should clarify, a good tone shift. Because it's very clear that things are getting serious, and the enemy battles definitely reflect that. Also, it feels like, just in my opinion anyway, just a tiny bit cosmic horror-y. Because you think to yourself, this is the inside of a dude, like a really big giant dude, and there's living things inside him, and he has eyes inside them, and like parts of his inside seems to be alive separate from him. It's just wild. No, I like 3-1, I like it a lot. Definitely very challenging, good test to see if you're really ready for what's about to come next. I think I'll give it high B, like top of B tier. That seems good. And 3-2, our first dance with Gabe. I'll never forget my first dance with Gabe. He took my hands gracefully, headbutted me as hard as he could, slammed my head into his knee, threw me off of him to get my filthy human machine self off of him, and then just splattered my blood everywhere. Also, there's a giant heart in the background because you know he loves you. It seems like no matter the Ultrakill player, in my experience anyway, no matter the Ultrakill player, it's either you know how to utterly destroy this boss top to bottom with taking minimal damage, or he will kick your ass no matter how good at the game you get. I'm in the second category. Now, of course, I know all the techs and specs, like the slab coin and shit like this. Of course, I know all the techs and specs and tricks to dealing with Gabe, like the slab coin, or whipping out the chainsaw when he's transitioning to phase 2 and basically take down a quarter of his health before he even has a chance to attack you again. But dude is just so fast. No, I love Gabe. I love the first encounter with Gabe. I don't know, I'll compare the two encounters with Gabe when I get to 6-2. We'll get to the comparison when we get to 6-2. But for the first encounter with Gabe, it's just such a monumental moment. And it feels like very satisfying when you finally overcome this. It's like, oh, you just beat the shit out of an archangel. Yeah, it's a big deal. And I think for that purpose, I'm gonna give it an S, and I think I'm gonna put it above 1-4. You might notice I'm putting a lot of the bosses in S tier, and that's just because they're one of the single biggest highlights of the game. And after beating Gabriel's ass, we head into greed. Money, money, money. I love Egyptian and ancient style ruins anything. Big, open, bloody battles in the middle of the desert where you have no idea who's gonna survive. It's just something I love. Also, the presentation, as soon as you enter the level, you open the doors and there's a giant pyramid, and you know, now that you've played all of Act 1, you know for a fact in your brain, See that pyramid over there? That's where you're going. Hakita hammers it into your head that, see that cool thing off in the distance? You're gonna go fight there, or you're going to go fight that thing there. And he's never one to break the trend. Also, you get introduced to the dual wield upgrade in this level. Always such a good time. Like, if V1 needs any more arms, am I right? This level design is like, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty fun. I think it's like probably, how do I say this? I think it's definitely my least favorite level in Greed. It's still a good level, don't get me wrong, but I think it's definitely my personal least favorite when it comes to Greed. Presentation-wise, it's on point, just like the rest of the game. But the actual like gameplay and enemy encounters, it's all like pretty standard stuff for the most part. The end part can be a little bit challenging, and I only say that because I've been doing a color weapons only challenge, so like blue only weapons, green and red, etc. And man, I got my ass handed to me in that final room where you get the dual wielding upgrade. But under normal circumstances where you have all your weapons, it's like pretty standard level. You know, it's not that bad. But I'm gonna give this one a C tier. Definitely. No, I like Bridge Burner more. I like Bridge Burner more. Yep, I'm committed. 4-2, Goddamn the Sun. The only thing I know about this level, or the only thing I ever think about when I think about this level, is the quadruple arms thing. Quintuple if you count punching. The enemy encounters here are actually like very challenging, and you have a lot of like open space in this level. Even in the room where you get the blue skull, it's just a long corridor with a ton of space to jump around in. Like, this is a very open level, and that seems to be the theme in like most of Greed, barring 4-3. Well, even 4-3, you got the Ramses nuclear reactor at the very end. And don't get me wrong, I like having room to fight and having room to move around as I please. But at the same time, it's kind of like just a little bit uninteresting, because it's like, you know, I don't really have a whole lot of environment to work with. I can move around as I please, but, you know, you're just kind of out in the desert. It's also where you get introduced to the sanding mechanics, and goddamn, do I hate that mechanic. And when I say I hate it, I mean it makes for a very interesting challenge and makes like, oh crap, my healing is reduced. I gotta be careful now. I gotta actually think about my moves a little more. I'm gonna give 4-2 a C tier. I like it more than 4-1, but I like Bridge Burner more. 4-3 is definitely my favorite level in Greed. Minus 4-4, you know, because that's a boss level. It's my favorite individual normal level. You're finally inside the pyramid. You're walking around, it's dark, and you gotta figure out where the enemies are. And I love the secrets in this level. Like, I love how in one of the bigger rooms with the 4 flame pits around, I like how you can get on them, light the fire, and then it lifts you up to a secret room with a dual wield power up. Like, that's such a great secret. And of course, the mysterious druid knight and owl, and like all the references to like the YouTubers in there. Like, that's just such a great secret. And it would make sense that an ancient pyramid that, you know, that's presumably been there for God knows how long would have cool secrets like that. They're ancient ruins. I want to be able to poke around in places that nobody else has probably been. And that final battle in that big arena, man, that is some P2 level stuff. It is a crazy challenge. I've gotten good at it by this point, and generally just gotten good at dealing with swarms and swarms of enemies. Target the virtues, target the Maurices, everything else is not really a problem. But man, you gotta be moving in that fight. You just gotta keep moving, and you gotta, I mean, for me anyway, it's just stop and parry anything and everything that comes at you to keep your health up. And of course you can put the blue skull in it, which I think makes the encounter harder, I think. I actually don't remember. I'll have to do both when I record like the whole game for this video. But yeah, that's a fun encounter. Very like, it feels very like penultimate, if you will. And that's good, it should be penultimate considering what comes next. But for 4-3, I'm gonna give 4-3 a B tier. I think I'll put it right above 1-1. Yeah, it seems like a good place for it. 4-4, the final showdown with V2. I know what you're cooking, Hakita. I know your games now. I know that you're insisting so hard that V2 is dead. I know better. I know he's not. It's either gonna be V2 comes back, but he's even more fucked up, or it's gonna be V3. You can't trick me. In all seriousness though, I think the gold arm is actually gonna be like the ability to enable a dual wield power up like once a level or something. Or maybe I'm totally wrong, who knows? This fight is always so much fun, especially since you always gotta constantly watch V2 for when he starts throwing coins around. I always try and hit him with a counter ricochet with the slab piercer, because that is just so satisfying to pull off. There are like so many tricks you can do in this fight, and so many like interesting techs you can pull off and interesting maneuvers to counter your near identical self. And I really like this fight, it's really good. I guess I can compare it to the original now. I like the first fight with V2 a lot, and the coin trick's very fun, but this one has way more going on. Like, it has way more going on. Like, so many more tricks and stuff you can pull off because you have access to so many more weapons by this point. And I am keeping that in mind. Also, it's fun just kind of bonking him with his own arm and being like, I stole your arm. Now, this definitely gets an S tier. I think I like the first fight with Gabe a little more, though. I think so, yeah. Yeah. Moving into Wrath. I love Wrath as a layer. I love it. Thing is, in most games, I hate underwater levels. Ultrakill has some of the best, if not my single favorite, underwater levels in most games. It also doesn't help that I'm a thalassophobe, meaning I have a fear of the ocean and deep trenches of water. But in Ultrakill, man, I love that shit. One of my favorite tricks to do in 5.1 is that there's this big room where like a bunch of enemies spawn, where, you know, one of the blue skull rooms. And there's, you can desurface, you can get out of the water. And if you get out of the water and then shoot your electric rail cannon at one of the virtues, it just shocks the shit out of and kills most of the enemies in the arena. And that's another thing I really like about the underwater, like most underwater sections in Ultrakill, or whenever you're dealing with water, really. Don't stand in it if you're gonna do anything with electric tech, or else you'll screw yourself too. But at least you get to whip around with the whiplash a whole bunch. This is where the whiplash starts getting introduced to the levels, and man, it's just such a game changer for like the entire game. Because you think you go through the whole game and you learn how to jump around like a cracked out spider monkey, but then you get given the whiplash and you're like, oh, it's over, son. Or no, sorry, it's ultra killing time. That's honestly my favorite part of Ultrakill, is when John Ultrakill says he's gonna start ultra killing everybody and then starts ultra killing everywhere. But I like 5.1 a lot. I don't think I'm gonna give it an A tier. I think I'll give it a high B for sure. Honestly, I think I'm put it at the top of B tier. Yeah, I think I'm putting it at the top of B tier. I really like 5.1. 5.2. I'm gonna say that this is probably one of my, I don't know. I think this is probably my least favorite level in Wrath, but it's one of my overall general favorites of the game. Of course, you can destroy the whole universe by unleashing Jaquito, which is a whole bunch of fun. But this level is like, it has so much to explore. You got the lighthouse you can head over to. That's always a cool place to go to. There's the, if you're smart and with the whiplash, you can go to the Red Skull room and just yoink it and leave without having to fight any of the enemies, and that's always a bunch of fun. You can pay the ferryman to just skip the boss fight, because why not? And you can climb on top of the houses to get some of the secrets. There's a total like other house you have to go out of your way to get one of the secret orbs. Like this level's very big and open, where, see, this is the kind of big and openness I like, is where you have like, where with, what was it, 4.2, where with 4.2, like, you can't really explore off into the distance unless you like do the whole nighttime thing. But with 5.2, you don't have to do anything like that. You don't have to go out of your way. You can just explore this huge map to your heart's content. And it always feels worthwhile to do it. Where 4.2's openness is kind of just there to introduce you to the secret level. And, you know, it's not saying you shouldn't go out of your way to do it, but when it comes to the combat, it's a lot more rewarding, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's really late. I like 5.2. It's a good level. The ferryman's he's a pretty fun boss. He's not that hard. But I usually just pay to skip him anyway. He's fun. It's fun to skip him, and I feel bad because the dude's like has a really tragic story. I'm gonna give 5.2. I think I'm gonna give 5.2 a low B. Yeah, I'll put it at the bottom of B tier for now. Potential to move down, and tiny bit of potential to move up. 5.3, the Ship of Fools. This is my second favorite level in the whole game. Not only are there some amazing spots to do nukes in this level, but the music, man. Oh my god. Easily one of in my top 3 favorite tracks of the whole game. I love this level. I cannot glaze it enough. Once again, you got a multicolored door. It seems like all my favorite levels have multicolored doors in them. I wonder what's up with that. But I love the arena fights in 5.3. I think they're definitely some of my favorite arena fights in the whole game. You have just enough space to work with the enemies you've been given. You have just enough wiggle room to do whatever tricks you want to do. Like, you have just the right amount of space on this ship to do whatever it is you plan to do, well, which is murder, but you have just enough space to murder in the way you please. Yeah, I love 5.3, S tier for sure. I think I definitely like it more than 1.4. I definitely like it more than 4.4. I definitely like it more than 3.2, but I think I like 2.4 and 1.3 a little bit more. 5.4, the Leviathan fight. I have like a slightly changed opinion on this one ever since the Ultra revamp, because the boss got changed a little bit. I definitely like the boss more now, and it definitely feels a little more challenging. But it's still probably one of my least favorite bosses in the game. The presentation is fantastic, do not get me wrong. The presentation is utterly fantastic on this level. If you decide to not just slam storage jump all the way up at the very start and, you know, to do the challenge or just speed up time, you're walking along the water in this big underwater cavern, like just on these rocks, and then boom, Leviathan, there it is, now go fight it. Also, it's just a big, just fun battle. It's just a giant, like, haha, look, here's a giant Leviathan fish worm, kill it. So this level gets major points for presentation, so I'm not gonna be too critical. I'll put it like, I don't know, let me think about it for a second. My brain's really fried. I'm gonna give it a high C. I think high C is a good place to put it. I think I'll put it right behind Bridge Burner. I still like Bridge Burner more. It's still the crown, or the crowned king of C tier, but I think high C seems fair for 5-4. 6-1, oh my god. I feel like this is the part of the game where most people remember, oh yeah, this gameplay takes place in hell. The whole level is just a metal album cover from start to finish, both because of the music and just every screenshot is a metal album cover. Once again, it's another penultimate level where it's like, okay, you've played a lot of the game now, you should be able to handle something a little bit crazier. Before fighting the next boss. So it definitely succeeds at that, I think. And the level design itself, just the total hellscape it is just on point. It is just so glorious to look at. You know, when you're not blinded by how much red there is. Heresy is just the embodiment of all that is hateful and all that is bad in the world of Ultrakill. And you, V1, are gonna kill it all. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna make things even worse. It's a great level. It's a really good level. It definitely gets an A tier. I definitely like it more than Sheer Heart Attack. Definitely like it more than 1-2. But I don't think I like it more than 2-2. Yeah, I think 2-2. Yeah, I think mid to high A tier is where I'd put it. I give it potential to move up, no potential to move down. All right, 6-2. Time to compare the Gabe fights and figure out which one I like better. Because honestly, I don't even know myself. In terms of challenge, they feel pretty identical. I definitely get my ass kicked a little bit more often in 6-2 than I do in 3-2. But it's not by much. No matter what I do, Gabe is gonna kick my ass. But the voice acting for this level, you know, Gianni just killing it as Gabriel, just, it is so powerful. And you know, the actual design of the level, just making your way to Gabe, is pretty good. Even though, once again, you could just slam storage jump and just skip most of it. I guess Hakita designs the levels that way so people who are trying to P rank can save on time, which I really like. That's one thing I really like about Ultrakill's level design, is that, yes, there is a ranking system. Yes, it is completely optional, but for those who want to go for it, there are options to save time, and I've always liked that. Almost every level has some kind of neat shortcut you can do, or just thing to save time, and I like that about every single level. I think I like 6-2 a little bit more than I do 3-2. I think it's just a lot more impactful. It's still an S tier, and 3-2 is also still an S tier. The Gabe fights are just really, really good, and they're just so impactful and leave such a lasting impression on you. Because V1 is not the protagonist of this story. Gabriel is. If anything, we are the antagonist. Ooh, time for violence. I remember when violence came out and how excited I was. 7-1, the Garden of Forking Paths. All I can think about when I enter this level is how I try to go through the one door and it shuts, and then Luke was there with me at the time when I was recording my reactions to it, and he was like, well, it's not a forking path then, is it? This is definitely my least favorite violence level, but I still like it. The Minotaur is definitely one of my least favorite bosses. No questions asked. Especially that train ride version of him. I do not like that fight, like, period. I just don't like it. But the rest of the level is pretty good. It's called a Garden of Forking Paths, and damn, you can get lost pretty easily. It took me a while to clear this level for the first time. But pretty much it's just go forward, backtrack a bit, and then you can go forward again. But the music is top-notch. It is top-notch in this level. As such, I will give 7-1. I'm thinking a C tier. I like it more than 4-1. I like it more than most things in C tier, so I'll put it at high C with no potential to move up, but also no potential to move down. 7-2, Light Up the Night. Ooh, this one gets points for presentation right off the bat. You're just in a war zone. You're just in World War I, straight up. There's Big Ben, there's, oh, that's it. But you're in World War I. That is what 7-2 is. You are in World War I. You are in one of the just deadliest war zones that is just still going on, even after the war has ended, more so after humanity has died off, but the machines are just continuing to fight each other because that's what they do. And that is exactly how we fit into the equation. We're here to fight shit. We're not here to mess around. You get introduced to the Guttermen and Gutter Tanks, which are always so much fun to fight. I do like that the Gutterman just jump scares you at the very start. And this is also where you unlock the Jackhammer. Oh yeah, I haven't really been talking about the alternate. Well, the weapons aren't too important to the level's design and stuff like that, but this is where you get the Jackhammer. Now, I really like this level. It's a huge spectacle. Definitely not the biggest spectacle in violence, but I'd say like the second biggest one. I I like it a lot. It's a really good level, and it's really fun, and it's just crazy. I love it. I love this level a lot. Am I gonna give it an A tier? Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A tier. I think I'll put it at the bottom of A tier for now. 7-3, no sound, no memory, no thoughts, head empty. This level is just creepy. You got trees with faces on them, which I guess are like souls. You got Benjamin looming over you in the background, and you got a bunch of enemies fighting each other. There's so much infighting on this level. Me personally, I'm not questioning Hakita's level design, because his level design is on point. Me personally, I would have put a lot of that infighting in Light Up the Night as opposed to this level. I think it would have made a little bit more sense lore-wise, but that's just me. Like I said, I'm not questioning Hakita, that's just would have been the choice I made. This level's dark and creepy until the very end when you get flashbanged. But there's like a calmness to it, because it's like you're in violence, you're in the layer of violence. And like whenever you're not fighting something or whatever, it's just kind of like a calm depression. You know, it's like the music really creates that calm depression feeling. Like everything around you is like dark and has tints of red and blood, and it's like, damn, this is sad. And you feel very alone in this level. Like when I was playing through Violence, and even when I play through the whole game in one sitting just for fun, like whenever I get to this level, I feel so alone. I'm like Conquest. I am so lonely. Nobody talks to me. All the other machines are scared of me. They think I am unstable. Yeah, this level has major points for atmosphere. I think that's where it shines the most. The combat's like pretty good. It's pretty hectic. All of Violence is very hectic in terms of its combat and encounter design, but this one just feels like so ambiently depressing. And it does a really good job at that. I like it more than 7-2. I definitely like it more than 2-3. I think I like it more than Burning World, but I don't think I like it more than 6-1. Yeah, that's where I'll put it. Yeah, that's a good spot. Yeah, high tier. Oh, 7-4, my favorite level. As such, I'm putting it in the top of S tier right away. And this is another instance of, see that big fuck off machine or just thing in the distance? Go fight it. Now, I know the brain fight is like a little bit controversial, like a little bit, and it's not hard. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not hard. If anything, the security system fight is harder than the brain. But hey, what are you gonna do, right? Sometimes you just gotta get up in a giant, like 1,000-story tall war machine and just give it a lobotomy and then get the hell out of there. You know, it's just what you gotta do sometimes. But the music, the spectacle, the way Benjamin just keeps fighting the other Earth movers as you're just climbing up all inside his brain, and just the whole just design of the entire level. It's my favorite level. It is my favorite level. And now we have reached the end. So it's time to talk about the secret levels. 0S. I think we're all familiar with this one. This just turns Ultrakill into a horror game, and I think it does a pretty good job at that. It's definitely not my favorite secret level, but yeah, I think it's pretty decent. So I'm gonna rank the secret levels separately to the main levels. I'm gonna sort of count these as their own thing, so I'll put them on the ends. That doesn't mean they're at the end of these tiers, so just count them as separately. Pretend like the other levels aren't there as I'm ranking these. So I'm gonna give 0S a C tier. 2S, this level, even though it's like initially starts out like, oh yay, Ultrakill dating sim, haha, funny, it actually turns into a deep philosophical discussion that I think we can all learn a lot from. And I love me some deep philosophy, and as such, it gets an A tier. Also, just Hakita creating merch opportunities for himself. I know what you're doing. I know what goes on in that brain of yours. 1S, wait a minute. Why was 2S in front of 1S? 1S is pretty fun, you know, it's just puzzles. Just doing some fun puzzles. I'll give it a B tier. 4S, Hash Browndicoot. This level is really hard, and I'm annoyed that you actually have to get all the boxes to unlock the cheat in sandbox mode, but yeah, who cares? Really well designed though. Like, it's actually like very challenging. Now, I suck at platformers, and I don't particularly like platformers all the time. I like a platformer every now and then, but I'm not a huge platformer guy, and I will direct you to my Celeste videos for proof as to why. But this one's pretty good. I'll give it, I think I'll give this one a B tier too. Or no, not 5S, sorry. I meant to grab this one. I'll put it in B tier as well. I think I like it more than 1S, because 1S is like, yeah, it's puzzles, it's fun, it's cool. But 4S is like, you're just playing another game now. 5S, the fishing level. This is my favorite secret level, hands down. I just love fishing, man, what can I say? I went fishing a lot as a kid, and as a teenager when I went camping a few times. Like, it's fun, I love fishing. And the environments are super cool, and the lore it has spawned with like the size, what was it, size 2 fish, I think. It's It's such a fun level. I love it. Like, I could play, like, if that was a whole, like, game, like, just, like, and it was that simple, like, as simple as 5S, I'd play the shit out of that game. 7S, aka Power Wash Simulator. This is my second favorite secret level, definitely. I remember playing it on stream, my reactions to what happened, I was, like, going through fighting things, I was like, okay, this feels like a normal level so far. And then as soon as it was, like, clean up your mess, I was like, oh my god. Because I've played a lot of Power Wash Simulator. It is a really fun game, and it's honestly one of my favorites, quite frankly. And I also feel like Power Wash Simulator in Ultrakill, in violence, where everything is white and the blood is just splattering everywhere, it is like the perfect secret level. But like I said, 5S is my favorite, but I will still give 7S an S tier because it is just hilarious. You know what? Before we talk about the Prime Sanctums, allow me to rank the Encores. Now, the Encores are optional challenges. Now, when it comes to the physical design of the maps themselves, it's sort of being like a combined conglomerate versions of all the levels of previous layers mashed into one. I really like that a lot. And you also get to see what happened to the layers after you went through and destroyed them. And that is something I think is really cool. So atmospherically and physically and narratively, I think the Encores are really freaking cool. When it comes to the combat, it is really, really hard. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it isn't challenging. Like, oh, you know, it's not that bad once you get the hang of it. I mean, I'm sure the most professional of professional pro players who can P rank P2 in a nanosecond be like, yeah, not that bad. But for the rest of us, they're very challenging levels. And, you know, the whole point of the levels is to be challenging for the sake of being challenging. At least that's the impression I got. The heat mechanic in 0E is pretty interesting because it stresses you out and makes you feel pressure. It's like, oh, you gotta kill things fast or else you will die of heat. And I don't really remember what the gimmick of 1E is, if it even had like a gimmick. I know there was like the screens of Limbo were all sort of glitching out and there's lava everywhere and stuff, but I don't think there was like a heat mechanic gimmick in that, or like a gimmick in general like that. I like the concept of the heat gimmick. I think it makes sense, but I personally did not enjoy playing it that much. So I'm gonna put 0E in D tier, quite frankly. 1E, I don't know. When it comes to the combat, like I said, I don't like the level. I'm indecisive. I'm gonna package the available two Encores together, and I'm gonna put them in low C tier. I think I liked 1E a tiny bit more than 0E, but not by much. Like I said, when it comes to the combat, these things are really hard. But when it comes to the purpose of them and the intention behind them, like the lore reasons and the physical maps themselves, I actually think they're very cool. But with all of those out of the way, we got 2 more levels left. The Prime Sanctums. Let's start with P1, of course. P1 is definitely challenging, and I'd say I definitely prefer it over P2, except for the Flesh Prison. The Flesh Prison is... it feels like a hard boss, but not the fun kind of hard. The, oh, I can heal kind of fun, and that's never fun. But Minos, as a boss, one of my favorite bosses in the whole game. Aside from 7-4 with Benjamin, I'd say P1 is actually probably my second favorite level. Like, Minos is just such a fun boss, and he leaves such an impact on you. And goddamn, did it feel good when I finally P ranked this level. Also, all the music of Ultrakill is really good, but man, Hikita spares no expenses with the Prime Sanctum musics. And as such, with all those factors combined, I'm definitely gonna give P1 an S tier, hands down. I think honestly, I think it's probably my second favorite level in the game. And then honestly, I think I'll put here, I'm gonna do a little shift here. I think 5-3 is definitely my third favorite, so I'll put that at the third of S tier, and then everything else looks good for the moment. But now let's talk about the big one, P2. P2 is very hard, but it's the kind of hard where it feels like God, just in my head, I was just about to say it's the kind of hard where it feels really overwhelming, and I couldn't stop but laugh because haha, funny dick joke. The difficulty feels very overwhelming, but every room, every encounter, every arena battle has a strategy, and you can always formulate a plan. And if you formulate a plan and stick to it, this level is more than doable and more than P rankable. Quite frankly, me as a player, when it comes to what I know I'm good at as an Ultrakill player, I think I will honestly have an easier time figuring out how to get past the arena gauntlet without dying than I will getting past Sisyphus without dying. Because Sisyphus is a very hard boss. The Panopticon's like, yeah, whatever. It's not that hard. You just zip around, and honestly, just like the attacks are pretty easy to avoid. It's not a hard fight. But Sisyphus, man, that dude ain't playing. He definitely feels a little bit similar to Minos, but not enough to where I'm like, oh, Hikita just copy paste the boss. No, Sisyphus is legitimately challenging. My goodness, he is a really hard fight. And especially the thing I struggle with the most in his fight is the sheer amount of ground pound waves this dude dishes out. It is ridiculous how many of those he dishes out, and in such quick succession sometimes. That is what fucks me. But just like P1, it does have some of the best music from the entire Ultrakill OST. But in general, I really don't know how to rank P2. Like, it is just such a unique and like defined thing that like I legit don't know how to rank it. I'm legit thinking so hard about this, but my brain is also so fried. P2 kind of feels, at least in terms of the arena fights, feels a little bit like the Encores. I feel like Hikita went, like, I'm getting the vibes anyway, that Hikita went with a similar mindset when designing the arena fights. P2's arena fights feel a little bit more like organized, and it feels like there's an actual like, oh, like you look at this set of enemies and you think to yourself, it's like, okay, here's what to do. You know, you feel like you can prioritize a little bit, where with the Encores it feels like just stay the fuck alive at all costs. As such, since I feel like P2 it feels more organized than the Encores, and I definitely like it more than the Encores, I think I'll put it in. You know what? I really have, there's really no easy way to do this. Okay, I know what to do. Hold on, give me 1 second. There we go. But there you have it, my friends. All 39 levels in Ultrakill, including the secret levels, Encores, and Prime Sanctums, ranked on a tier list. Like I said, the secret levels I'm sort of counting as their own thing, so like just ignore them in relation to the other levels on here, but they are all fun. I like, the whole game is good. The whole game is good. So like even for the stuff in C tier and like the lower tiers, I still like the levels and I will still play them. It's just the whole game is good. Hikita is one of the most base developers I have seen in recent like gaming media and recent gaming history, and his game is just fantastic. I cannot wait to play Layer 8 Fraud when it comes out, and I cannot wait to give my thoughts about how I feel about those levels in relation to the rest of the game. You can bet your ass I'm gonna be streaming it, so keep an eye out for that. The minute it drops and the minute I'm aware it drops, I'm gonna stream it. But for now, I have to go bye-bye because I'm extremely tired and I still have a lot of work to do. But if you did enjoy this video and you want more Ultrakill content from me, be sure to hit the like and sub button. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you really like the way I do things around here and you want to show me a little bit of extra support, definitely consider becoming a channel member. Not only do you get access to a whole bunch of exclusive rewards, but you also directly support me in the process and help keep this channel running. That is going to do it for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, have a good day, everyone.